Greetings from Tromaville. Independent art is under assault. It's becoming evident that Amazon, Google, and YouTube have indeed become monopolistic. Never mind the facts that Amazon, Google, and the media conglomerates have spent hundreds of millions of dollars over Troma's 44 years of existence. They've been lobbying and doing other actions to create a cartel. As if that wasn't enough, there's also a double standard applied by these humongous giants, which is killing companies like Troma and in fact is killing all innovation. When it comes to any independent business, especially movies, television, and the arts, the effects that the oligopolies have over visionary enterprise, those effects are disastrous to us. If you ran a business that saw revenues decline by 88% over the course of just 2 years, you'd likely make the logical assumption that the business was dying and that it was probably time to think about trying to sell shoes or to do something else to attract new customers. But what if that very same business actually had a 65% increase in customer traffic over the same time period? At that point, you'd probably have to assume you were being robbed blind.
All right, everybody, drop your tacos or I'll blow your brains out.
Well, this is exactly what's happening to Troma Entertainment and a myriad of other independent content providers who are trying to monetize their content via YouTube and other platforms without having to hang out with the devil-worshipping international media conglomerates. Put another way, even as Troma's online viewership increased substantially from the fourth quarter of 2015 to the fourth quarter of 2017, views increased from about 5 million to over 15 million. The revenue generated from this traffic dropped to almost nothing. In the fourth quarter of 2015, Electra Love, a typical title distributed by Troma, was viewed 500,000 times and received about $1,000. In the fourth quarter of 2017, the same Electra Love was viewed just as many times and received exactly $1.20. Another Troma title, Vegas High Stakes, which has over 20 million views to date, has only received $111 during its entire lifetime on YouTube. Yet there is literally nothing that Troma or any of the thousands of other smaller content providers can do to stop this vicious strangulation happening while staring helplessly into the red and whites of the eyes of their common assailants. YouTube, hiding behind the mysterious veil of a computer-controlled process, claims there is no set dollar amount that applies to how many views of monetized programming there are. Rather, the revenue associated with each view fluctuates in direct proportion to the amount of advertising displayed alongside any clip. And this is where the dreaded YouTube, quote, algorithm, unquote, comes into play. Every posted title is analyzed by, quote, the algorithm, unquote. And in the case of Troma and many of you content creators, their postings are automatically flagged as, quote, age restricted or, quote, not suitable for most advertisers, essentially relegating the content in question to purgatory, where revenue goes to die. As recently as last week, Troma posted its own eyewitness account of the 2017 Cannes Film Festival entitled, quote, From Festival to Fascism. This short documentary garnered thousands of hits within hours of being released, only to be summarily banned as, quote, inappropriate. This rendered it worthless from both the revenue for advertising as well as generating interest from the public. So there's a double standard. YouTube doesn't seem to bother 20th Century Fox or Paramount, who put up much worse than From Festival to Fascism. Troma is not alone in this. There are multiple examples of inconsistencies across the application of these standards of decency, which seem to make egregious exceptions depending on the size of the creator. In 2017, after the horrific shooting in Las Vegas that killed 58 people and injured 500, YouTube Uber creator Casey Neistat, who's got about 8 million subscribers, posted a video to raise money for the victims through a GoFundMe page. YouTube promptly flagged the video as, quote, not suitable for most advertisers, unquote, and he blocked Mr. Neistat from running ads on the video. The very same day, Jimmy Kimmel who's owned by Disney, put a video up with the exact same information about the mass shooting, and there seemed to be no restriction against the advertising attached. CNN and ABC were also allowed to run ads on videos that were posted about these horrendous shootings that very day. All very similar in content to the video posted by Mr. Neistat, with the notable exception that the revenue were not going to the victims, but directly into the silk-lined pockets of the evil, devil-worshipping international media conglomerate. Lest it seem that YouTube is the only offender in this war against independent art and creation, it should be noted that other online content gatekeepers like Amazon are deploying their own strategies for limiting the ways in which independent content reaches the mainstream. Recently, Blumhouse Pictures, who created the Oscar-winning Get Out, reported that numerous independent horror directors received emails from the internet behemoth Amazon stating that Amazon will no longer allow titles containing persistent or graphic sexual or violent acts, gratuitous nudity and/or erotic themes, or adult content to be offered as, quote, included with Prime or even free with pre-roll ads. However, a quick search of Amazon Prime movies currently available reveals that such titles as Irreversible, Lionsgate, Bound, Paramount, Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2, Paramount, and American Honey, A24, all of which contain huge helpings of adult content as defined by Amazon above. Yet small independent movies such as Science Team, Invalid, My Bloody Banjo, and Harvest Lake are all subject to removal unless the filmmakers excise the purportedly offensive content from their films or change the titles of their films. In many ways, this seems more sinister and psychologically damaging than simply removing or rejecting the films. Having to disembowel your own babies. It's chilling, and it's a horrible fate indeed. According to a Forbes article, Forbes is hardly a crazy, subversive publication, quote, creators didn't ask to be managed by machines. It was the solution YouTube came up with to deal with the massive amounts of data. YouTube can, however, provide better working conditions for creators by being more transparent about changes. Yes, transparency, the solution to every YouTube versus community controversy since pre-Snapchat. No one is entitled to YouTube money but the creators, and for most part, people deserve to be created as such, as creators. Another Forbes article also points out that YouTube needs to improve the communication with all content creators, large and small, and improve its system of demonetizing videos that don't adhere to so-called community standards, unquote. The current automated system paints with a broad, if irregular, brush. More human beings need to be involved in this process to avoid a horrendous double standard that kills innovation and independence. The internet use should be based on respect for freedom of expression, as well as plurality and diversity, openness and collaboration, free enterprise, free competition, and consumer protection. The discipline of internet use should follow the principle of the open internet, i.e., that is, the preservation and guarantee of net neutrality, the free, open, and diverse internet. Some countries are way ahead of the United States and have passed laws to preserve net neutrality. Brazil has federal law known as the Brazilian Internet Act, which has established the principle of guarantee of network neutrality to discipline the internet use in Brazil. Everybody is equal. Amazon, Google, and YouTube cannot hide behind machines, numbers, and algorithms. They have to take into account the people, the artists, the creators, respecting the audience that appreciates visionary art and independent films. You should write to your local representatives and your elected officials and the Judiciary Department of the United States of America and make your opinion known, and make sure that you don't let the internet be captured by the cartel and the oligopoly who are limiting and censoring free speech. Thank you.